No fireworks. Is it a bad sign that there's bullet holes? We've spent the day mostly in downtown Taos walking around and exploring, and so now we're looking for somewhere to paint. It's so beautiful. I got like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but I'm gonna give it a go. Even if the painting ends up kind of meh or I don't finish it, I mean, it's still gorgeous. Look at this. Yeah, this is so different from Colorado. Look at all these volcanic rocks. I mean, look at that. And I believe this is it's basically ash that's been hardened. Very lightweight. There's prickly pear. Don't touch that. And also stick cactus. It's a baby. And everywhere we go, there's sagebrush. It smells like something you'd clean your house with, but in a good way. Look at these old ancient junipers. Could easily be several hundred years old. Okay, I think I'm gonna do the old juniper here in this little cut that turns into this amazing gorge. And I'd love to paint that as well, but I don't have the time. And as you can see, got about 45 minutes or less till the sun goes down. So I'm gonna do just a real quick outline of this guy and see what we can come up with. And right now, the sun is beating right down on this pretty bad, but I need to do what I call sight size so I can draw it properly, and then I'll probably move this direction. I'm not using an umbrella because the wind will take it and who knows where it'll go. So I've drawn them all out as quickly as I can because we're losing light. But now I'm facing this way so the sun won't get in the way. Because the sunlight will mess up all your values and colors really badly if you do it in direct light. Okay, so the real trick is to get the sagey color that's out here. And to the best of my knowledge, it works really good with raw sienna and cobalt turquoise mixed together. So let's give that a go. So I got my sky color mixed up here. Bit of cobalt. And I erased this out here so we won't have a hard line. And we're just gonna, no clouds today. We're just gonna make it straight across. As quickly as possible. It is almost as dry here as Colorado, I gotta say. It's impressive how dry it is here. Okay, done. Now we'll just add in a bit of deeper color at the top. Like that. We'll let that bleed down. Okay. Oops. Alright, next. Get in that mountain. I'm going to dull it down just a little bit because it's in the distance. Slightly murkify it. Turquoise. Oh, that turquoise is powerful, powerful pigment. Okay. Okay, here we go. Just barely kiss the top there. Barely. Okay. Because you see how already the shadows are streaking across, so we gotta put that in ASAP. This is a race against the clock, these sunset pictures. There we go. And you can see how that's bleeding there, so I'd have to mitigate that. Oh well. Hate when that happens. Might be able to fix it, and if not, it was a good try. So what happened was, I think a bit of water got caught up under the tape, and that's why it started bleeding out like that. So let's see if we can save that. You see it's not going to be as pretty as it would have been, but we won't have the ugly blotch, hopefully. It's still trying to blotch. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it that way so gravity will work against it. A bit of dark perylene green. Ooh, that's really dark. Look at that. A bit of brown, so it won't be quite that way. A bit more of my favorite raw sienna. Make it really dark. Yeah. So my guess is it's got some rock color in there too, but we're just gonna go with what we have and go. Never seen anyone paint sideways, huh? Oh, and now I see I made a mistake because this, oops. Right. Lighten that up. Didn't want that to be that dark there. Okay. Save that. But do the grass. Sideways grass. And see this? This is where the cliff comes in, so we'll have to come back in with this later. And then it just kind of goes out that way. See, you mess up, that's okay. So I just realized this doesn't all need to be in shadow. What a mess. see if I can save all this. And then we'll get this foreground here while this is getting all done up. And the shadows that are growing by the second. Because it's still wet enough, you can adjust things if you need to. But yeah, see how these shadows are coming in? So we're gonna do those last. And make sure my finger's not on the hole. Okay. Gotta put up those rocks. I've got some cool rock colors here. Let's see. Use a bit of titanium buff. And a bit of hematite burnt scarlet. Give it some cool. It dried a bit, so. And I know there's probably some green lichens and whatnot, but we're gonna simplify this. And just kind of go with some basics here, and then I'll add some greens as I go. I'm trying to do these rocks real quick. Oh, we're running out of time so fast. Just kind of scrub it in. I don't want to make it perfect. Okay, we'll have some more rocks coming in here maybe for the sage. Okay. And now, this is still very wet with some warm raw sienna. We're gonna very bravely come back over here, warm that up. And then it falls into the shadow. Now we're gonna attempt some of this rock in here, just to show that peeking through a few places. And then going with just pure raw sienna. Colored greens. Hopefully. And I'll make a little sage brush here. My brush is a little on the wet side, so let's see if we can. The sun's in my eyes, so I can't quite tell what I'm doing here. Put another brush here. One here. Alright, I think I like these shadows right here, so we're gonna drop those in now that I think this is just about dry enough. So if Okay, what I might do is I'm going to clean this out right here. And I'm going to drop in some purple that I pre-mixed last time. Because once again, I ran out of cobalt violet, so this is going to be the ultramarine blue, French undermarine blue, and a bit of rose, permanent rose. Maybe just a little bit more blue. Okay. And we'll take a bit of this stuff here to make it not quite so purpley. Just tone it down just a bit. And we're going to put this in. Okay. So I put in these little tree guys here, but yeah, you can see the shadows have already changed twice. So I might put in one more deep shadow at the top and just stop doing that because that's going to mess this up completely. Just like maybe one more stripey one right there. Okay, we're not going to do that anymore because it's already changed. See what I mean about painting sunsets? So what we will do is we'll get in some deeper shadows under here, like deep, like purpley deep dark, like with some, don't get much darker than that, does it? Soften that. And that's the sound of me frantically trying to get oxygen in my lungs. It's a little hard to breathe up here at this altitude, weirdly enough. Probably because I haven't slept well. If you sleep well, you can handle altitude change, no problem. Okay, I'm gonna do this bit here. Let's see. Mostly light. Okay, hopefully this works. Always leave loose areas in between little holes. And this is very different from our junipers, to a point where I might have to get another brush here because this is kind of cool and square at the top. almost lacy-like. And everything's drying out. And I'm gonna have to lift out a bit here, so just a second. Okay, well, I've lifted out a few more areas here. I made a trunk color here for the tree. As you can see, the light's changing already again. So I'm gonna go over this real quick. That. And then okay. Now at this point, you're like, Laura, this is a mess. And you would be right. This is what happens when you rush really fast, but I know what I'm doing. Sure I do. Oops. Make a dark, shadowy color. A bit of everything, but mostly hinting towards the green side. Let's see if I can do this. And we'll go back in on this, showing that side of it, if I can. It's drying out really fast. It's almost like there's these little roundels underneath here. So dry. Keep it as unified as possible. Trying to give it that sticky, juniper-y feel to it. Oh, it's drying out. Look at that. This looks very dry. And at this point, I'm not looking at the tree too much because it's shifting and so rapidly that I don't want to mess it up by chasing the light, as they say. But I'm still doing it anyway. Okay. Let that dry because this is still gooey and wet. See, trying to make it juniper-y and kind of spiky. Yeah. It's completely dry. Look at that. This is what I get for doing this on a windy day. Windy day. Just add some more darks. And add some shadows right here with the bark. Look at that. And then let's see, this is way too straight, so I'll try to get my other brush. Quick. Losing that light. Going so fast. Really dark, blacky brown color. Going right on the edge here. Oh, it's still damp. And then we'll maybe make a little curvy branch there, like they do. And then like that. Yeah, and see how this is coming through? This is what you get for using transparent colors. So I might go back and fix that in the studio. Whoops, and I just dropped. Well, there you go. Okay, well, this has changed again so dramatically. I'm gonna call, this is when you call it good and take it into the studio or come back to the same spot and do it the next day. I've been told that the weather is going to change dramatically, so that's why I'm getting as many reference photos and ideas as I can. Now you see, this is why you're wondering, why didn't you do this one earlier? Well, you can see, look at all the light that's gone now. But see, this is actually looking better, so. But yeah, I gotta clean up all the mud and stuff. I got all over everything. Look at this, I got it on my paper towels, on everything. But yeah, so yeah, I think I'm gonna call it good and just enjoy the sunset as it comes down over Taos, New Mexico. All right, now that I've got the painting back here in the Colorado studio, I can see all kinds of things that went sideways with this piece. First of all, I painted a sunset, which is really tricky to do to begin with, and I hurried it and rushed it without thinking it through, so that's mistake number one. Mistake number two was I used my completely transparent color palette, so you can see it's like you have X-ray vision. You can see through the tree into what I painted behind it. And also, because I was in a hurry, I wasn't sight sizing, I wasn't looking straight at my subject matter, the tree, the entire time. And so what happens when you do that is your brain just kind of turns off and reverts into just making, you know, what your brain thinks a tree looks like instead of what the actual tree looked like. And so while this isn't a bad tree, this is not at all, you know, the old juniper that I was looking at. So, and then add to that the shadows that got a little bit muddled and a little bit too dark, I think, in a few places. So, and they might have even been that dark, but it just throws off the piece when you're looking at it. Now, here's a little tool in my arsenal. This is something I don't use a lot, but when you really have to go with the nuclear option, this is a piece of a Mr. Clean eraser. It can really take off that first layer if you need to. I don't do this very often because it's hard on the paper, but because this is Arches or Arches French paper, cold press, it's very tough. It can take a lot. So what I'm going to do is in a few of these areas, I'm going to wet this gently. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to very lightly wet it, and look how it just comes right off. Boom. Once again, this is a transparent colors for the most part and not stainers. So I'm able to do this pretty easily. And I don't want it to look streaky, so I'm going to make some organic-y shapes and just try to lift out those bits there, because that was really problematic. And the real secret is to let this utterly and completely dry before I go back over it. If I don't do that, disaster. So once again, Mr. Clean, he's your friend. but don't overuse him, only as a last resort. Do it very, very lightly and let it completely and utterly get bone dry before you paint over it again. So let's do it. Let's try to fix this painting. Fishy guys. And then get some in. This is going to be a mess to edit, I can tell you that right now.